Hi, and welcome to the LG Appliance customer service video. Coming up in just a second. At the beginning here, I would just like to say I appreciate the new subscribers that have tuned in the last month. I'm also going to ask you folks that are watching if you would hit like. It helps out with the YouTube algorithm and helps to point these videos to other folks who might be looking at a similar subject. And if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. It really does help out a lot. Now, without any more talking, we're going to get into the talking part of the video. Thanks. Hi, and welcome to Two Riders. This is going to be a little bit different video than normal. This is going to be a discussion video. There'll be a couple of photos. There's not going to be video of the LG products. What this is my experience with LG Appliance customer service. And I'll get into this. This has nothing to do with it. It's just on the table because I'm going to be lighting this later tonight outside here. So we've got an LG electric stove. It's a model with 4 burners on top plus a warming burner. It's a traditional plus convection oven. I've had it for about 10 years now. It is a model that has a touch screen on the back of the top. It doesn't have knobs. You know, a lot of the LGs have knobs. This is electric. It's glass with the burners underneath the glass, and one of the burners, there's 2 small ones, a small size warming burner, a dedicated large burner, and then a combination burner that can be used as either a small burner or a large burner. Like I said, we've had it for 10 years. It's worked fine. It replaced an oven that was here probably about 12 years. Well, a couple weeks ago, out of the blue, when I would turn on the small burner on the back, the large burner on the front would come on at the high level, at the high setting, without touching the touch screen for that at all. Very odd. So, first thing I did is went out and started doing some research. I looked at YouTube under LG stoves and under the particular model that I've got. Didn't find a whole lot. Went online and did a search for the model of the stove and with the keyword problems or troubles. Then I went out and typed in LG stoves and looked up if there were any recalls or if there were any technical service bulletins. They're also listed as a TSB. Appliances will have technical service bulletins, and so will automobiles, things like that. A recall generally is going to be a case where there's a problem that's noticed, there's a problem that a company has said they're going to own it, and they're going to ask you to bring your, whatever your device is or your vehicle is, to them, or they might even send somebody to you if it's bad enough, and they're going to fix it. A technical service bulletin a lot of times is going to be a problem that is not really widespread, but it's a problem that is recognized. And they'll put it out there so that repair shops will know, so that technicians will know that there's a known issue and here's a method to fix it. In some cases, a technical service bulletin will act like a recall, where if you look for it and if you ask about it, the company will say, we're going to fix it for you. So here I am with this 10-year-old stove. The only recalls I can find are for some LG stoves that have knobs down at about waist level, at about 3 feet. And they're push-in turn knobs for lighting the grill. The issue with them is that possibly kids or even dogs, you got a big dog, can jump up on it, turn it, and then you're going to have a hot burner going when you might not want it going. LG also makes stoves where the knobs are on the back at about closer to 4 feet, where you've got to kind of like actually get up there. By the time you turn it, you'll see the burner coming on. Those ones I don't think they've had recall issues with. So I do my research. That's the first thing. Do your homework. We don't throw away any instruction manuals in this house. We have a file cabinet and we had the physical owner's manual of that stove. I went through it, called the 800 number, and asked for customer service, and talked to a nice lady who I asked about I asked first off, is this stove still under warranty? After 10 years, I figured it wasn't, but hey, there's cars that have 10-year drivetrain warranties now, so you got to ask, right? So I asked. It's not under warranty anymore. Then I said, is this covered by any of the recalls? She asked me for the serial number. The serial number was on a little tab that was taped onto the owner's manual. I read it off. She said, no, yours is not under recall. Yours was made about 11 years ago. And I said, yeah, we bought it 10 years ago, so it had been in a store for a couple of months before we got it. And then I said, well, what about technical service bulletins? She said she didn't see anything out there. I described the problem, and she said, what I can do for you is offer you the contact information for 3 repair services that are in your area after getting my address and zip code. She said, give them a call. They're all people that we have vetted and we've worked with in the past. And then, you see how it goes. So that day I called all 3 numbers. One of the services never returned the call, so they checked the box where they didn't want the work. The second one asked about the stove and said, well, let's see, that model stove, there's kind of 2 control modules. There's a big module, the big board, the brain, like the motherboard, and that controls all the push button, they're not push buttons, they're tactile. It's like on your phone or on your tablet. It's just a touch screen. They said they don't make that anymore. That's been discontinued and we can't find any. But there's another module sort of on the exterior, on the bottom of the back, and that also controls the burners. But we think it's the big board. If we come out, it's going to cost you $100. If we can put the parts in, we'll take that $100 and apply it to labor. You're going to hear trucks and stuff going by probably too, and it's a little windy. I wanted to do this outside instead of inside. Just a nice cool day in the 60s, a little drizzle. But the guy was not hopeful at all. The third place said, well, we can't get the main module, we can get the other one, and we can come by. He says, I don't want to hit you for $100 if we can't fix it. You might have to just, basically he was telling me I might have to just get a new stove. Well, at that time, I'm thinking, there's one burner that turns 2 of them on. Don't want that. But the big burner still operates on its switch, and the other 2 burners still operate. And maybe we'll just limp along with 3 burners instead of 4, because I almost never use 4 burners at a time. The reality is that if you're using big enough pots and pans, they're actually going to be pushing each other around. So, like, well, I didn't want to have to dump $800 into a new stove, or more than $800. A similar stove was going to start at around $8. So I said, well, let's make an appointment. Guy said, okay, I can come out in a week. Great. That's the stopping point for the first effort. Before the week was up, the lady from LG gave me a call and asked how things were going. I said, well, I'm a little surprised that the part's not being made after 10 years. I mean, I thought stoves, would get 15 or 20 years of life out of them. And she said, well, not really. I mean, we kind of expect that after maybe 10 years or so, that's going to be their lifespan. And so at some point they had stopped making that control board. And I was like, well, I mean, the stove still looks good, still works good, still works great. And I'm happy with it, and I'd like to keep it. I said, but everybody says they're going to hit me for $100, and then probably won't be able to fix the problem. So I'll just be out 100, which will be in addition to buying the new stove. She said, well, I'm sorry to hear that. How would you like it if I would send you an LG tech out at no cost to you? He's not going to get you $100 for the service charge. He'll come out and take a look and see where you go from there. What do you think I said? I said, I think that's a great idea. That'd be wonderful. So I called up the other guys, told them to not come out, and the LG tech came out. And it was just a short visit, the first visit. He said, okay, tell me what's going on. He turned on the small burner. The big burner came on high. He said, okay. He said, first I had to verify what the problem is. I don't have parts with me today. I don't think I can get the big control board, but I'll try and see. I can get the secondary one, which might or might not do anything. And I said, well, you're the LG tech. You know these way better than I do. But I've done some research. I've done some searching on YouTube and on some other sites, and a few folks say that small module, they had the exact same problem that I've had right now, and that replacing that small module fixed the problem. I said, so, if you want to bring the part out that you can get, I'm really happy to have you come by and take a look at it. So about a week goes by, and the gentleman calls me back up and says, I've got your part. Could I come out tomorrow? He set a time window, and he came out. Pulled the stove away from the wall, unplugged it, disconnected the old module, put in the new module, plugged it back in, stood up. Well, back, press anything there, press the burner control back here. Small burner comes on. Big burner is not coming on inadvertently. Presses the control for the big burner comes on. Everything's working fine. He says, well, I didn't think that was going to fix it. I said, well, I'm really happy that it did fix it. Now we'll move on to the third part. So 10 years ago we got this stove. Here's a picture of the stove. In the meantime, I've liked it, and we've had other appliances that have gone by the wayside. Led us to get an LG TV. It's a 75-inch. We had a 55-inch TV, and during the big lockdown from 2020 to 20 whatever, when you weren't allowed to go into movie theaters and stuff like that, some movies came off the big screen or never went on it and just came into streaming right away. I said, if we watch the movie, we're going to do one payment that's going to be less than 3 tickets for sure. Anytime we want to take a break, somebody knocks at the door, the phone rings, dogs have to go out or something, we can pause it, we can go make popcorn, come back, and we won't miss anything like we would at a traditional movie theater. These days we still go see a movie if it looks like it's going to be good on a big screen. But about 2 years ago, I measured what the diagonal and the width was going to be on the biggest screen that I could get between two windows to go outside, because I didn't want to be blocking the curtains and the windows. So 75-inch was it. And we got the 75-inch screen TV. One of the things that made me consider these TVs is that over the years, the last 10 years that we've traveled places to Airbnbs and hotels, we see a lot of LG TVs. We see a lot of LG refrigerators. We see Samsung TVs in a lot of these hotels. They seem to be good quality, nice pictures, nice features, remotes that you can just use your voice to search. So 2 years ago we got the LG TV. Happy with that. We had the wind's picking up a little bit. We had an LG, not an LG, a GE refrigerator that had water through the door, ice through the door, crushed ice through the door, shaved ice through the door, and all kinds of lights and fun stuff, and all that stuff quit working. So I got a repair guy to come out and look at it, and I said, "Is it just the module back here that needs to be replaced?" He said, "No, this particular General Electric, because we had a General Electric before that. This one, when they put it together, there's a failure point where the door and the body of the thing, the wires will fail. It'll be like the whole wiring harness fails, and the only way you can repair it is by replacing the door." This is the door that was on the freezer side of a refrigerator freezer. And I looked at him and I said, "Well, how much is it to replace that?" He said, "Well, if we can get one, it's $800. $800? Yeah." So it's like, well, that's kind of the price of a brand new, not old refrigerator. So yeah, we're not going to do that. And we ended up buying the LG. One thing that I recommend, and this is just me, and also, and I'll get back to the main story here in a second. We got the new refrigerator, and my wife's like, "Well, we're going to get an ice maker, right?" And I go, "Yeah," and water, yeah. I said, "But we go to one of the big box stores and we look at the refrigerators. If they've got ice and water together and you open the door, there's an area about a cubic foot with that machinery and all those devices that you lose a cubic foot of shelf space in your fridge." So the fridge we got, the front doors are all smooth. You open the door, and against one of the walls there's a little pressure thing that you put a glass up to, and cold water comes out, and that's in the refrigerator section. You open the freezer at the bottom, and there's the big deep compartment, and then there's a shallower compartment, and that's split up about 2/3 and 1/3. On the 1/3, there's a basket that's under the ice maker, and it catches ice, and you don't have any problem with ice getting jammed up in a screw type machine. You don't have trouble with ice going from a cold freezer part out into the outside and then freezing up and getting big clogs of frozen ice. It works great. So we got plenty of ice, we got plenty of cold water, and we don't have these associated problems that you a lot of times get with a through the door item. So that's why I've been buying LG. We've been happy with them. I'm really happy that they did the repair, no cost out of pocket to us at all. And all it took was me doing a little research, and then me asking, and being relatively persistent, and also having a good customer service rep. I'm not going to use people's names because I didn't get the permission to use their names. But our customer service rep, she was very, very nice. She was very helpful. Our service tech, very nice guy, very helpful, and basically they saved us about $800. And $800, I don't know, to me, it's a substantial amount of money. So that's my experience. Your mileage may vary. By the way, if I didn't say it at the beginning, please like and subscribe to the video. If this is helpful to you, if you've got any questions, feel free to leave a comment too. I appreciate y'all watching, and thanks. Have a great rest of your day.